What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Today, we have another how to improve your draft, looking at two different mock drafts you guys submitted, seeing what we'd do differently. Before we start that, I'm going to have a little house cleaning on this series and then the stat of the day. Then we'll hop into it. First, about the series. You guys have an option. What do you want to see for these Thursday videos? I'm not sure if rankings are going to come out on Wednesdays or Thursdays yet, but for this Thursday video, as of the time being, would you rather see this series? So I break down, me or Dare breaks down a mock draft or two mock drafts from you guys, just saying what we do differently, different picks you could have made, just seeing how the team could have turned out a little differently, how we would have preferred. Or we do like I did with the Joe Mixon and Jordan Howard video, where we break down two players. That video would probably be two players going similar rankings or similar ADP. So maybe two early running backs, two mid running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks probably not, but could be tight ends, could be any position. But two players going next to each other, breaking down what we like on the player, what we don't like, and then ultimately who we would draft, or if we would draft them or draft neither of them. So let me know if you'd rather see that or this. We'll still be doing the two-player breakdowns, even if you guys say no to that series. I don't think you'll say no, because I think you guys seem to like it. But even if you say no, we'll still do some of those throughout the season. But if you say you'd rather have that, we'll do a lot more. We'll be able to break down a lot more players. So let me know about that in the comment section. Also in the comment section, stat of the day. Yesterday, what center was last in both pass blocking and run blocking? It was Spencer Pulley of the Chargers. Sean Henry got that one right. Gets on the board again. I believe that's number 2, but that's really just off the top of my head. I'd have to look, but that name sounds extremely familiar, so I'm pretty sure he's already gotten one. Today's, we're not going fantasy again. We're going with a linebacker this time. Who was last season's top-ranked pass rushing linebacker? Top-ranked pass rushing linebacker last season? Let us know. That's today's stat of the day. Let's hop into this video. So, first mock draft is going to be half-point PPR, 12-team league, normal roster settings. We got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, flex. Everything's normal. The question the person asked in this email was, is this okay? Now, I have to think that they're a Texans fan. Like, that it has to be, seeing how many Texans they draft. But that was the question. Is it okay to draft this many people from a team, seeing how they have the #1 easiest schedule? So they should be in a lot of positive game scripts, at least compared to what they would have if they had a more difficult schedule. So they should be above average in what you would expect their roster to do. But is it risky? One, yeah. Obviously, it's risky when you take 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, and a running back all on the same team, plus their defense, which, I mean, that part doesn't really matter, but it was just kind of funny they also took the defense. Yeah, it's extremely risky to do, and it's not something I would do unless it's a team that we expect to put up a ton of points. You could draft, I guess, Brady, Gronk, Sonny Michel, Hogan, like that kind of combination. I wouldn't do it for this team because what you're drafting is based off of what we saw in a very small sample from Watson. You know, last season, if he was to do what he did over that like 3 or 4 game stretch where he was awesome for the whole season, 1, yeah, this would be amazing, but 2, he'd also be the greatest quarterback of all time, which he's not. You know, he's not going to put up the same, 9.2% touchdown rate, one of the greatest we've ever seen. Like, that's not going to happen. It's a small sample thing. He's going to see regression. He might be really good, but he's going to see regression. So drafting the entire team at an inflated price point is probably not smart. So individually, I'm fine with Hopkins. You guys see I circled Lamar Miller in yellow. I think that's a good pick. And I'm fine with Fuller. I'm fine with that pick. My issue is all of them together, but also, you guys have heard me say over and over again, it's Watson. I'm not picking Watson. I just think that you're paying way too high of a price for a guy who's going to put up very similar numbers to guys who are going, 8 rounds later. So we'll start from the beginning. Hopkins, I don't think that's like a bad pick at all. I would have personally gone Saquon Barkley, but I'm not going to be mad at someone who picks Hopkins in the first round. Again, if this is a league I truly care about, that pick is Barkley. Next pick, Jerick McKinnon. It's a little early. I think the hype is getting there a bit too much. I know the fantasy community loves McKinnon. I love his talent. I love his landing spot. I love everything about him. But that high of a pick, I mean, you have to go Keenan Allen with that pick. Even like Christian McCaffrey, it's pretty close. I don't even know which direction I'd lean there, but you have to go Keenan Allen. That's really not something that I've even considered. So I would have started off Barkley and Keenan Allen there. Next pick, Geis, is fine. I don't think it's like an exceptional pick. I would have probably, if it was me, taken either Diggs or Ty, but I understand in a half-point league taking Geis, given how talented he is as a running back, and that receptions don't matter as much. Because remember, in PPR, we definitely wouldn't have taken Geis there. But I don't mind that pick. I'm perfectly fine if you take that kind of pick. Like I said, Watson, that next pick, we're not drafting Watson. If you're a subscriber to this channel, if you go to our website, if you get our premium content, and you draft Watson, like I just don't know what to do anymore. Like you just don't take Watson. It's 100% not worth the pick. Lamar Miller, I do like. Like I said, they have the #1 easiest schedule in the league. That usually favors the running back. That doesn't favor the quarterback as much. You know, there are times when a team can just get annihilated. They're facing a much better team, but the quarterback's the one that benefits because of all the garbage time points. Well, it's the opposite if your team has an easy schedule. If you're ahead more in games, it's a much more run-heavy game script. So he could fall into a lot of run-heavy game scripts, and we still don't know the health of Foreman. So I think Lamar Miller is a decent pick. Not saying like he's the best running back of all time or anything, but it's a good pick based off of opportunity. Fuller, like I said, I'm perfectly fine drafting. That's kind of like a meh spot in the draft, this 6th round. There's not really a ton of picks I'm pumped about, so I'm going to take the upside of Fuller. Kerryon Johnson, kind of switched our opinion on him. The schedule is tough, and I just think like he's not a bad pick at this spot, but I'd much rather take Mac. You're looking at so much more upside being the potential starting running back in an Andrew Luck offense than you are with Kerryon Johnson. Because even if Kerryon Johnson hits his ceiling, it's not as high as Mac's ceiling is. And I think there's a little bit more risk given the schedule for Kerryon Johnson. So I'm leaning off him a little bit. I still think he's a fine pick, but there I would have gone Mac. Cobb, I don't think is a bad pick, but it's Cooper Kupp is a lot better. Like Cobb is just fine, but you're probably not starting Randall Cobb. And like with the team that is made here with Hopkins, Fuller, Cobb, maybe you are, but in the team that you probably should have drafted, you're not. Like you probably should have had Keenan Allen at that next pick. Instead of Watson, you probably should have had one of like Juju or Allen Robinson, or really Alshon Jeffrey was probably the best pick there in that 4th round. So you would have had better wide receivers. I just think Cooper Kupp, they're going to use him more in the red zone. We know that offense is going to score some points. It's a good offense. I'm not saying that's not the case with Randall Cobb, but I'm saying like when has Randall Cobb, unless he falls on the positive end of touchdown luck, when has Randall Cobb really been someone you trust starting? Whereas I think Cooper Kupp has that upside to be someone that we really do trust starting. Chubb, you've heard us say definitely we think Chubb is worth it at this spot. I'm not saying he's going to dominate because Carlos Hyde is there, Duke Johnson is there, so the volume is going to be pretty low. But right now, with your current team, you're not really trusting him to start anytime in the beginning of the season, and so there's just a lot of upside with the pick. So I like that pick. Definitely would have gone with Jamal Williams at that pick, but I'm just assuming Jamal Williams is going to go up another round or two in ADP once people realize that Aaron Jones is suspended and that you have the starting running back on the Packers for at least the first couple weeks, and he's got the best chance since he's starting. If he does good, they're going to keep him in there. That's just how NFL offenses work. So would have gone Jamal Williams, but I'm assuming that pick won't be there for most of you guys, so I didn't really want to mention it too much. Hines, I think, is a perfectly good pick, but you shouldn't have taken Deshaun Watson in the 4th round. You should have taken the value of Andrew Luck here in the 10th round. So although I like Hines as a good pick, he does get a downgrade in half-point leagues, which this is, and then I mean, you have to take Andrew Luck in the 10th round. Even if there's a chance he doesn't play this season, it's the 10th round. So you can drop that pick. It's a low hit rate pick, with skill position players. So just this is when we take a quarterback since it's such a low hit rate round. But you've got to take the upside of Andrew Luck in the 10th round. So no to the Watson pick in the 4th. Draft Luck in the 10th. Also would have taken DJ Moore at that pick. So it's kind of like a double kind of down pick, I guess. Marquise Lee's fine. I'm fine if you want to take a shot on those Jaguars wide receivers. I wouldn't load up on them, but I would say if you have a feeling as to which one you think will win the job, or which one, not even win the job, which one you think gets most heavily targeted. I don't really have a feel for that yet, but if you think it's Lee, take Lee. Next 3 picks I'm saying no to, just because we don't take defenses in the 12th, so that's an obvious one. Move that to the 14th. O.J. Howard, I guess, is fine, but I don't really want to target anyone in that Bucks anymore. I'll talk about Winston in a second, but with that Houston pick, I would have taken Carson, Doxson, Rashard Matthews, Galladay, Bernard, any of those guys you could have taken and should have taken with that 12th round pick. If I had to pick one, probably Doxson, then Galladay. I probably would have taken a shot on those 2 wide receivers. You guys know I released a video on wide receivers we're targeting, and Doxson, Galladay, those are 2 guys we're definitely targeting late for the upside. Instead of O.J. Howard, I don't even know who you really could have taken at that spot because, I mean, the rest are blanked out, but maybe just take a shot on Jared Cook. Maybe take a shot on Eifert. He wasn't drafted yet in this league, so I would have just taken a shot at that point. I don't think O.J. Howard really has the upside anymore. We know Winston's out for the first 3 weeks, which I've said is fine. We're going to get him for free now, but looking more into his strength of schedule, I just don't think you can draft him at this point. I know a lot of quarterbacks went in this league, but I love Trubisky as a late round pick, and he still wasn't even drafted. So you could have gotten Trubisky at that spot. Winston more than likely isn't going to be drafted in most leagues, so you could get him if you wanted on free agency, but looking at his schedule, again, it's brutal late. So he's just not someone I'm targeting. He's got a really difficult schedule, and you won't have him for the first 4 weeks. That's not something we're looking for. So it's a no to Winston for me. We tanked him in our rankings. We liked him before the news came out of the suspension, but looking further into it now, you can't draft him. He's just undraftable. Draft Trubisky in that last spot. So that's it for the first mock draft. Let's move into the second one. A 10-team league, this time full point PPR. Starts off awesome. I love the first 2 picks. Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook. If I can start off an important league like that, I am absolutely going to do that every single time. Just missed out on Josh Gordon. Remember, we have him ranked way above consensus. He's my wide receiver 8 on the season. I'm not taking Howard. I will take Diggs. I would take Hilton. Obviously, you got Hilton with that next pick, but I so much would have rather started off Zeke, Dalvin Cook, Diggs, T.Y. I just think that the receptions with Jordan Howard being projected around 18 to 23, you just can't do that. You can't do that in the 3rd round. I know he's safe. He's a much better pick in standard. That offense should be better. They should score more touchdowns. But I can't rationalize drafting him in the 3rd round of PPR league. Receptions are important. He had a great season last year, but still finished 10th in PPR for running backs. You can't finish really high on 20 receptions. Someone's going to pass you. So would have rather had Diggs at that pick. Alshon, only reason I didn't highlight him in yellow, I think that's a phenomenal pick as well, is because I would have rather had Amari. And that would have been such a good start. Zeke, Dalvin Cook, Diggs, T.Y., Amari. That's a dominant start to a draft. I know it's a 10-team league, so most teams are dominant, but that would have been a fantastic start. So I would have rather preferred it start off that way. I told you we don't draft quarterbacks early. That goes for Brady. I know I'm a Patriots fan, but you just don't draft Brady early. We know Edelman's out for the first few weeks. We know Cooks is gone. We know they're probably going to try and establish a run game with Burkhead and Sonny Michel. I know they're going to throw to running backs, and they're still going to throw to Gronk, and they're still going to throw to their other weapons. But it's just not worth drafting a non-mobile quarterback in the 6th round when you could draft someone who's going to finish very close to him, like extremely close to him 6 rounds later. It's not worth it. So would have rather other people there. Again, with Will Fuller, I think his ADP is just accurate at this point. Like he's just a fair price. So if you want to take the shot on the upside of Will Fuller, by all means do so. He's better in standard than in PPR, but you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine taking a shot on him. Fine with Delaney Walker. I think, remember, We think that Titans offense is going to be a lot better this season. They're finally done with that awful run offense that they had. I mean, they just looked so embarrassing out there. That smash mouth offense, ugh, it was so bad. So they're finally going to air it out this season, finally look at what the good teams are doing and what the teams who actually use data are doing, and they're going to throw it. So they're going to be a better offense. I like the Delaney pick, just also realize you're probably going to miss him for a few weeks because he does seem to get banged up a lot. Cobb is fine. Looking in that range, there's really not many people you could have gone to. I would have personally drafted Funchess or Chubb, but I think it's fine. Again, I'm not drafting Cobb, but if you want to, I know I said in the last video I'm drafting Kupp, I'm drafting Funchess, I'm drafting Cobb. I get it. I get the Cobb pick. I just didn't want to mark it in red because I think I understand the pick. I understand taking a shot on an offense that with Aaron Rodgers is elite and he's going to be on the field. So he could see high variance, a high amount of touchdowns this season. That's entirely possible. He could get 13 touchdowns. That's in his range of outcomes. So I get the pick. It's just not for me. Hyde is definitely not for me. We do not draft Carlos Hyde in any of your leagues in the 10th round. He has 0 reception upside. He's like the worst receiving back in the entire league. They have Duke Johnson. They just brought in Chubb. There's no way Carlos Hyde pays off unless both Chubb and Duke Johnson get hurt. And in that case, it's like, okay, you just got extremely lucky. It's not a good pick. It could work out, but it's not a good pick. So don't draft Carlos Hyde. Would have much preferred Devonta Parker or Cooper Kupp at that pick, or even Isaiah Crowell. I would have even taken Crowell. Even though we like Elijah McGuire, they paid Crowell. So Crowell is going to get the early down work. So I'd much rather have Crowell. Erns, fine. Erns is never going to be a guy where you're super pumped about because the upside is just not there. But I think he's a good wide receiver who's going to get you points. And I think that is valuable sometimes when you have Cobb, who's disappointed, and Fuller, who is super high variance. So I think that's a fine pick there. No idea where Doug Martin came from. We are not drafting Doug Martin at all. He's done. He's not good anymore. That is DJ Moore. That's the pick you make there. Jamal Williams. That's the pick you make there. It's not Doug Martin, so do not draft him. Winston, already gave the talk on Winston. Remember what I said a few minutes ago. We're not taking him anymore. I know we made the video about guys you should target, but that was released before he was suspended for 3 games. So we're not taking Winston anymore. That pick can be replaced with Trubisky. I haven't really talked too much about Trubisky, but I really like him. The schedule sets up very nicely for passing. He's had another year in that system to learn. Remember, he was just thrown in last season with not a lot of time to prep. He's got much better receiving weapons in Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton. Like, they much improved that pass offense. Are they going to air it out every play? No. But they've got a good running back in Howard. They've got a good receiving back in Cohen. They should get a lot more touchdowns. And he was very, very unlucky with touchdowns last season. He had like a 2.1%. I tweeted out a 2.1% touchdown rate last season. That's going to go up. He's not a bad quarterback. Plus, he's mobile. He's going to get you 2 to 3 points every single week on the ground. And that very much increases his floor. Even if he has a bad week passing the ball, when you have that bump every single week of 2 to 3 points, and then if he scores a touchdown, that bumps up to like 8 or 9 points. But 2 to 3 point minimum bump, even a bad week, they're not awful. And he's got more upside because he can rush. If the dude throws for 302 touchdowns, then runs for more, that's when we see the monster weeks from guys like Newton and Wilson. And even guys like Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has that extra appeal because he can run. So I really like Trubisky, and he's going like super undrafted. So we've said quarterbacks that we like late. We like taking Luck, but I think his ADP is going to rise. We like taking Rivers late. We like taking Mariota late. But some of these guys might get hyped up. Guarantee you Trubisky doesn't. So if you want a pick that you could take in the last round every single time, it's Trubisky. Last 2 picks were Baltimore and Lutz. Again, we don't like drafting the defense and kicker this early when you don't have to. Just take super high upside guys, take handcuffs, take guys that you don't know the role. It could be great, but you have no idea. We'll see in training camp. But again, a lot of leagues don't allow you to do that. So I'm fine just taking the defense and kicker there. So that is the breakdown. breakdown of the two drafts. Remember to let us know in the comment section if you'd rather see this every week or you'd rather see a 2-player breakdown. Personally, I kind of like the 2-player breakdown. Makes us look into players more deeply, lets us give our thoughts on more players throughout the season. But let us know what you guys think. A reminder again, we do these giveaways and we're just going to do 13,000. So at 13,000 subscribers, we're going to give away a signed T.Y. Hilton picture this time. All you have to do to be entered in that giveaway, and I'll mention at the beginning of videos going forward, is be subscribed to the channel and follow both me and Dare on Twitter. Do those two things, you'll be entered to get a free T.Y. Hilton signed picture once we hit 13,000 subscribers. We just hit 11,000. Cannot believe that we have that many. Ultimately, like my end goal for this channel was 5,000 subscribers. I thought if we got 5,000 subscribers, that'd be awesome. I mean, we're just exploding through that. I have no idea how there are that many people who actually want to consume our content, but it's awesome. So thank you guys so much for 11,000 subscribers. At 13,000, we're doing the giveaway. At 15,000, we're doing another giveaway. 17,000, 20,000. We're just going to keep giving things away because you guys are awesome and you deserve it. So that is the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit that like button? How about we subscribe if we're new? Thanks for watching.